It's not the first time we've heard this in typing process, and it's very funny. Well, that's okay. And it's funny. Here we have a question in our Socionic questionnaire. For example, you got into an unfriendly team. What will you do? What will be your reaction? What will be your actions? This question can reveal a variety of socionic functions, depending on what is strong in a person. And now we hear many times from people of ethical types that ... If I were a leader, yes, this is a question about a leader. If you were a leader, what would you do then? And they say, I, in my team, would never, ever have favorites, intrigues and gossip. That's all. And everyone should be treated equally. It should not be like this person is closer, but this one is farther away. This is really bad, and ethical types tell us this, and it's very funny. Attention, the question is, why? What do you think? Do such phenomena exist objectively? Yes, there are. I think that everyone has come across this, everyone has seen it. No matter what teams they work in, e.g. Stalin, who was sensory ethical extrovert. Yes, this is such an extreme example. This is an extreme example, yes, but there are softer options that exist all the time. Because other way is unreal for ethical types. Because, firstly, in a team, when there are all sorts of intrigues, gossip, favorites, pulling someone over to their side, this is almost often done by just the same ethical types. This is first. Because logical types generally do not really understand these issues. Their intrigues turn out to be very awkward, or they are very noticeable to the ethical type persons. Either it will be some kind of intrigue from logic point of view, if you act by some logical algorithm, or it can be a very primitive manipulation, because ethic types can manipulate in such a way that you don't even understand what happened to you. Logicians have much worse tools, they do not understand manipulations on such a high ethical level, and this very often passes them by. That is, logic types seek to regulate relationships in the team, or somehow rigidly divide everything into some departments, in order to generally reduce all informal intrigues to a minimum. Ethics, on the other hand, have everything that concerns people's relationships, reactions, likes and dislikes, friendship, enmity and questions about whom to be friends against. This is the sphere of their social implementation. This is what a strong ethical function does in society. And, damn it, gossip that no one likes, what is often condemned, this is most often done by ethical types with high emotion. And especially white ethics do that, yes especially. Because the introverted ethics is about relationships and you can't get away from it, it's the basic information that people perceive. And this is the area in which it is easiest for you to somehow manipulate, somehow act and somehow influence the situation. It is the ethical realm. And this is interesting for ethical types the most. That is, if we take some work that is conditionally logical or not related to communication with people, for example, accounting. There is nothing else in the accounting department except to count the numbers, balance sheets and salaries calculations, for example. And just imagine, a certain number of employees of ethical types are sitting there. And here they are in the accounting department. How much do you think they are interested in doing bookkeeping only? Fully invest your soul in this activity, in these numbers. I love numbers, reports so much. Well, that's a lie. Surely everyone saw the accounting department like you go to there, and there they sit for tea, there they drink coffee, there they go out to smoke. Well, it happens. They discuss their boss, his secretary, and all these ethical games can, of course, be brought to the point of absurdity and turn into something that interferes with work. But this can also be at some acceptable level, and vice versa, even help work. Because a team in which relations are somehow established, when there is a friendly team, it will work better, will work more successfully, will work more efficiently. And in general, if an ethical type is a leader in a team, he can somehow contribute to this. He can not only contribute to this, because ethics is a very broad function. An ethical type can either make everyone friends, improve the informal atmosphere, or quarrel, divide, and set everyone up against someone in order to remove someone from the team, in order to find his position very conveniently. This is the truth of life. There is no condemnation in this, we do not complain about anything, we do not blame anyone. It just happens. And if this happens, then it is the ethical types that organize such intrigues. By the way, it is very useful to understand this in principle, in the context of some power intrigues in political activities like palace coups. Who, with whom and against whom. Strong ethics, it seems to me, were especially needed in the Middle Ages in order to survive. If you correctly make friends with whom you need and calculate in time who you need to be friends with in order to stay alive, then strong socionic ethics can simply save. Here in the comments they write, why are these complex informal relationships if you can simply prescribe interaction in the rules of conduct at work? Yeah, and everyone immediately rushed to comply with them. This can only be done using some kind of tough method when, in general, employees do not have a lot of free time for informal communication. For example, a large commercial bank. They hire employees there, and they have total control there. As soon as a person is at the workplace, everything is completely recorded, and everything is tapped, what he does. And he does not have free time at all to knit a scarf, or chat over tea and so on. That is, all informal communication can be taken out to the common kitchen or somewhere, where they go to dine. But this is just an example. That is, it is possible to create a fairly strict discipline when communication between employees is not required within the framework of work. And for this, all sorts of team building, field trips, and some corporate parties are held. That is, it all happens there, and not during work. It is possible to minimize ethical factor. So going back to the original thesis that ethics, when they say I hate intrigue and gossip, at best, a person really treats such negative manifestations badly and will try to somehow minimize them, but this is almost unrealistic. Yes, by the way, I noticed that I had observations of all sorts of leaders who were, for example, ethics from Gamma Quadra, and they could declare that I do not like gossip and intrigue. And they didn't really do it, but they still have it in their manual. They try to be as objective as possible, to look at what a person does and how he does it, how he approaches his activities, his work. That is, they can really focus on it, but still they do have favorites and not favorites. And still, with their favorites, they will be more friendly, they will pay more attention to them. Somewhere they will help simply because this person is more likable. Anyway, this topic with favorites, it still exists. Even if a person does it as unbiasedly as possible and as accurately and as objectively as possible, there is still no escape from this, but this is natural. It cannot be said that this is something bad and terrible. That is, no matter how people of ethical types try to be absolutely objective. But this is basically normal, after all, we are all living beings. I remember one of the persons from Stalin's inner circle, to whom Stalin was for some reason extremely respectful, called him by his full name, offered him tea and generally behaved very strangely in comparison with all the others, with whom he did not interact politely at all. And what, Stalin didn't even kill him then? As far as I remember, no. That person was one of the highest Soviet specialists in military affairs during the World War II. I don't remember who exactly. They write in the chat, my friend once said I don't like gossip. And then she told about the personal life of all her friends. This is what it is. It's okay, yes.